What's up, everybody? Justin here. I'm back. I did a video earlier, a list video, episode number 5. Check that out. It's in my list playlist. The List, episode number 5, where I discuss Cara Marie from MTV, The Challenge, and her tweets towards the women of the WWE. And I also discuss on the list, episode 5, I talk about the rumored WrestleMania 33 card. Also, I talk about where the Royal Rumble 2018 is going to be from. But this video is my impact on Pop TNA. Well, I don't like calling it TNA anymore. So I'll just say impact on Pop Genesis review. This was Genesis tonight. We all know, long-time Impact Wrestling TNA fans, we all know Genesis used to be a pay-per-view for a pretty long time, but now it's a special on Impact on Pop. It had a pay-per-view feel to it, had a lot of good matches, 4 titles were on the line. So let's get to the Impact on Pop Genesis review. Up first, we had a video of Eddie Edwards and Bobby Lashley. They were going to be in the main event in the Iron Man match for the world title. They show footage of them walking into the Impact Zone. So that was good hype for the main event. Then, out first to kick off the show, up first, out first, whatever you want to say, the Broken Hardys, Matt Hardy, Brother Nero, Broken Matt, Brother Nero, the Broken Hardys, still the tag team champions, by the way. They come out, Matt does a promo, Broken Matt is talking a lot and for a while, probably 10-minute promo, 5 or 10 minute promo. And Matt is saying that they want, and Brother Nero, Jeff Hardy, I still like calling him Jeff Hardy, Brother Nero gets on the mic and says, I want to be the World Heavyweight Champion. I think it's time for me to go after the World Heavyweight title again. And Brother Nero, Jeff Hardy, whatever you want to call him, he's a former, I think, 2-time world champion in TNA, I believe. Maybe 3-time. I think 2 times. So, Brother Nero says he wants to go after the world title. Then Broken Matt gets on the mic and says, we must get every piece of gold there is. That was pretty funny stuff. So then the Broken Hardys are still talking for a little bit, and then DCC comes out. James Storm and his group, DCC, they come out, they cut a promo a little bit, basically saying they want in a match with the Hardys for the tag titles tonight. Then, after DCC, out comes Decay. Abyss, Crazy Steve, Rosemary, Decay comes out to the ring. So it's Decay, DCC, and the Broken Hardys all in the ring. And Decay says, and DCC says they want in. So it becomes a triple threat, 3-way dance for the TNA tag team titles. Or, I don't think they mention TNA anymore, so I should stop mentioning those 3 stupid letters, TNA. I'm going to stop mentioning TNA for good. Impact Wrestling tag titles. Don't even have to call them Impact Wrestling. I'll call them the tag titles. Because that's what they are. They're tag team titles for tag teams. So the Hardys, DCC, Decay have a pretty good triple threat. I enjoyed it. Broken Hardys retain and are still tag team champions. So then we go backstage. And after the triple threat tag title match, Drew Galloway, the grand champion, the new grand champion, Drew Galloway, cuts a promo talking about tonight, I will be coming out there soon to defend the grand championship. And I don't really like the grand championship and the rules. I don't like the 3 rounds. This isn't boxing. This isn't MMA, but I don't really hate it. But I don't really like it either. So Drew Galloway cuts his promo. Then we go backstage. They're in a restaurant, going into a restaurant, like They had a date, reservations. Laura Von Ness, what was her name when she was on Tough Enough? Her name wasn't Laura Von Ness. I forget her other name. That's probably her real name. But Laura Von Ness, she's in Maria's crew. And Maria, I guess, is still running the Knockouts. So Laura Von Ness is in a restaurant with Braxton Sutter. And they look like they're going to be on a date. So then Braxton Sutter, he looks miserable. Like he doesn't want to be on a date with her because he's probably thinking about Allie. And he turned his back on Allie because he said last week, I can't train you anymore. I'm sorry. He goes, I can't hang around you and help you anymore. And then Allie said back to Braxton Sutter, why? She goes, but you're still going to train me, aren't you? And he goes, no, I'm sorry, I can't. He goes, trust me, it's better for you. I can't tell you why right now, but trust me, me not training you, me not being around you is better for you. So I felt bad for Allie last week that basically she had her heart broken, that she can't train with him anymore. Even though she's already a trained wrestler and she was on the indies as Cherry Bomb. And she was a pretty good women's wrestler. Not great, but she was pretty good. So Allie, no appearance on this Impact from Allie. I kind of wanted to see her, but she didn't appear on the show. So Laura Von Ness, Braxton Sutter are on a date in a restaurant. Braxton Sutter says, I hope I can have about 11 more bottles of wine because he looks miserable to be there. He looks like he's on a date from hell. And Laura Von Ness, by the way, she's pretty damn attractive. So I would go on a date with her. So then up next we had Drew Galloway defending his grand championship in an open fight night. Basically, he laid down an open challenge. Drew Galloway said, whoever's back there, come out, challenge me for the grand championship. I'll put it on the line and fight you. Who comes out? Moose. 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 I wish I had his music playing in the background. Moose. Moose comes out and takes on Drew Galloway, accepts the open challenge. It's Moose, Drew Galloway for the grand championship again. They got 3 rounds. First round, the winner of the first round was Moose. Round number 2. I thought it was going to go to round 3, but it did not. Round number 2, the match ends when Drew Galloway hit a Future Shock DDT, his finisher. I think that's his finisher. It's called the Future Shock DDT 1, 2, 3. Drew Galloway wins and retains the grand championship. He's still the grand champion. Up next, we had the Knockouts title on the line. First, we had the tag titles. Then we had the grand championship. Now we have the Knockouts title on the line. I need a drink because I'm talking way too fast. So the Knockouts title. I'm going to calm down a bit. I don't know why. I'm pretty hyped up. I'm talking too fast. I need to calm the hell down. So, the Knockouts title on the line. Jade, probably talking fast because I don't want this review to go that long. Jade challenging the Knockouts champion Rosemary in a Monsters Ball match for the Knockouts title. I think we've seen the Monsters Ball matches before, maybe in a mixed tag with Abyss and Taylor Wilde against, I don't remember who. Probably Taylor Wilde and Abyss against Daphne and Dr. Stevie. They might have been in a Monsters Ball mixed tag. So I think before the Knockouts were involved in a Monsters Ball match, but it wasn't all Knockouts one-on-one in a Monsters Ball. This was for the Knockouts title, and it was also Monsters Ball. What does that mean? It means anything goes. Weapons are legal. I like Jade. She got a new haircut. She looks damn hot. But I love Rosemary. I'm a big big fan of Rosemary, big supporter of Rosemary. She is fantastic. I love her gimmick. I love how she plays a character. She is great at everything she does as Rosemary is great. So Rosemary defending. This match got crazy. It got hardcore. It got violent. It got pretty out of control. But it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Monsters Ball Knockouts title match. First, the match kicked off. Rosemary was doing her entrance. She didn't even get in the ring yet, and Jade decides to dive through the ropes, taking out Rosemary. So that was an awesome way to kick off the match. Then other great, awesome spots we saw. Rosemary went under the ring, outside the ring. Went under the ring, pulled out a bag. What do you think was in it? No, it wasn't a bag of... It wasn't a bag from Don West's Brown Bag Specials. It wasn't a Brown Bag Special bag, but I have to order one of those Brown Bag Specials very soon. But it wasn't a Brown Bag Special. It was a black bag, and what do you think was in it? I'll take a guess. It was thumbtacks were in it. So, Rosemary pulls out a bag, dumps a whole lot of thumbtacks in the corner near one of the turnbuckles. So, a lot of tacks are in the ring now, on the mat, laying for somebody to get slammed on them. So, and it was a ton of thumbtacks were in the ring. And then Jade comes back, starts whipping Rosemary with her belt, leather belt, whipping her on the back. That had to hurt, that had to leave a mark, had to leave a lot of bruises, I'm sure. After the match, she probably was all bruised up on her back and had a lot of red marks. So Jade whips her with a belt, leather belt. I think she took it off her pants. I don't know where she got it from. And then she starts beating Rosemary with a Singapore cane. Jade is beating her with a Singapore cane on the back. That also had to leave a mark. And then Rosemary gets up, and after taking cane shots, she gets up, gets trash can, takes Jade down in the corner, puts a trash can up against Jade. She's going up to the top rope to do coast to coast drop kick to the trash can into Jade's face. But when Rosemary's on the top rope, Jade grabs the trash can, throws it at Rosemary, drills her in the head by throwing the trash can. That was pretty awesome. So Rosemary gets taken out and she's all dazed on the top rope. Dazed and confused, I guess. Yeah. Or not, yeah. Dazed and confused, that movie. Alright. Not yeah. I think I'm thinking of Luke Harper. He says yeah. Anyways, if you don't know that movie, Dazed and Confused, well, then you probably don't know that line. Alright. Anyways, back to the Monsters Ball Knockouts title match. After she's taken out on the top rope and she was all dazed and confused, then she gets German suplexed. Jade German suplexes Rosemary on the thumbtacks. Now, her entire back did not land on the thumbtacks, but a lot of her neck and upper back did get thumbtacks. So that was brutal. That German suplex spot, talking about Suplex City, that Lesnar does, well, this was Tax City. Much worse than Suplex City being suplexed in the thumbtacks. Much worse than getting a suplex from Lesnar. So that was insane that Rosemary took that spot, German suplex into the tax. Mad respect for her for taking that, because I wouldn't want to. Then a table gets brought into the ring. The table's just laying in the middle of the ring, not set up yet, and they're going at it. Then Rosemary goes back to the outside of the ring and grabs a giant barbed wire board. A giant, giant piece of wood, barbed wire board. She throws it in the ring. And that, I was like, oh my God. Someone's really going to get slammed on a barbed wire board. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. Jade grabs Rosemary, does some type of move. I don't know what it was called. But basically, Jade grabs Rosemary, slams her on top of the barbed wire board back first. That had to leave a mark and hurt. But I'm suspicious. I don't know if the barbed wire was even real. I don't know if it was real because they would use it again. So after she gets slammed back first on the barbed wire, and I wouldn't blame Impact Wrestling for using fake barbed wire. If it was fake, I wouldn't blame them at all because no woman wrestler should have to be slammed on real barbed wire. Just leave that up to the guys that are crazy enough to take it. I mean, if it was real barbed wire, that's insane, and I even got more respect for Rosemary. But she shouldn't have to take that bump in the barbed wire. We know when Daphne took a choke slam off the second rope at a TNA, I think it was Bound for Glory, at a TNA Bound for Glory, it might have been 2008 or 2009 Bound for Glory. Daphne took a choke slam, I believe, from Abyss through a barbed wire board, and she went crashing to the floor through the barbed wire board, and she broke her leg because of that spot. But this was in the ring. The board wasn't set up on the apron and the guardrail. This was in the ring. So then Jade flips the board over, and the board's on top of Rosemary. And then Jade does a springboard moonsault on top of the board, on top of Rosemary, crushing her under the barbed wire board. That was insanity. Moonsault on top of the barbed wire board, crushing Rosemary. That had to hurt like hell. And I hope it wasn't real barbed wire. But if it was, that had to hurt like hell. So that was a crazy spot. First she gets slammed on a barbed wire board, then he gets flipped over on her, and she takes a moonsault on top of a barbed wire board. And Rosemary was trapped. As I said, the board was on top of her when she took the moonsault from Jade. Then we had, I already said that, moonsault spot. And then Rosemary hit a suplex off the top rope. She might have been on the second rope, but she still hit a superplex off the top, putting Jade through the table in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3, Rosemary wins and is still TNA Knockouts champion. Rosemary is still champion. Round of applause for that Monsters Ball women's match. Jade, Rosemary, I respect the hell out of you ladies. You brought your A game, and it was awesome. I loved it. I loved the match. So just about anything Rosemary's in, I'll watch, and I'll love it because I'm a huge fan of Rosemary, as I said earlier. So no new Knockouts champion. Rosemary retains, and out comes Gail Kim, because she's wanted to check on her friend Jade. They're friends. I'm sure Jade looked up to Gail Kim getting into the business. So then Rosemary sprays purple mist, sprays her mist in Gail Kim's face, and Gail is blinded and selling it very well. That was awesome. So up next we had the X Division title on the line. X Division 5-way. 5-way for the X Division title. Andrew Everett, Trevor Lee, DJZ, Carly, I forget his last name. Carly Conley, I think it's Carly Conley or Conley somebody. That was the guy's last name, Conley. And the other guy was another new guy I never heard of, probably from the Indies. But both of them were good X Division wrestlers. Maybe they're with Impact now. Maybe they signed contracts. The other guy was Rocket. His last name is Rocket. I forget his first name. Anyways, action-packed 5-way for the X Division title is pretty short. It's probably 5 to 7 minutes. But DJ, a lot of high spots, a lot of high-flying action. DJZ wins and retains the X Division title. Good for DJZ. I'm a fan of his. He's a good X Division champion. And DJZ deserves a long reign as X Division champ. Up next, we had The Hardys again backstage. The Broken Hardys in another backstage segment talking to their drone, whatever it's called. I think it's called Echo One or something. Their drone. They were talking to it. Matt Hardy was talking about the X Division match. Said that was a spot monkey. Oh, he brought DJZ. I think Brother Nero brought DJZ, and Broken Matt says, "Oh, the spot monkey." Then he brought up Rosemary retaining, and Broken Matt didn't like that. He says, "Delete Rosemary." And brought up the X Division title. He goes, "Delete." And brought up the world title match. He goes, "Delete." And then Brother Nero, I believe, talked about facing whoever wins in the Iron Man match for the world title. Up next was the main event for the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. Bobby Lashley challenging Eddie Edwards again for the title. This is like their third or fourth match, I believe, for the world title. But this was different. It was an Iron Man match. First, and it was good. Went about 30 minutes. Maybe a little over 30 minutes. It was a good Iron Man match for the world title. First fall went to Bobby Lashley. Second fall went to Bobby Lashley. Because the second fall, Eddie Edwards couldn't get back in the ring. He was counted out. And so Lashley's up 2-0. Then Eddie Edwards makes a comeback with like 10 minutes left. He's down 2-0. He makes a little bit of a comeback and he gets a fall. So it's 2-1. Lashley leads 2-1 and falls. So it's down to about 2 minutes. I think Lashley had 2 or 3 falls by now. So it might have been 2-1, or it might have been Lashley 3-1. I forget. I apologize. But Lashley, there's like 2 minutes 30 seconds left. And Lashley was about to get another fall, but I'm not sure if he did. I think he might have. So it might have been 3-1. But I don't think it's 3-1. Anyways, Eddie Edwards locks on a submission. Had Lashley's head trapped, had his legs wrapped around Lashley, had a choke, head and arm choke, submission. He wouldn't let go. There's under a minute left. He still had the submission locked on. The referee finally started lifting Lashley's arm. It dropped once. It dropped twice. Referee was trying to lift his arm for a third time, but Lashley was holding his arm like this, locking his arm. He wouldn't let the referee lift it. Lashley would not give up. Lashley would not let the ref lift his arm. He was holding his arm back with his strength. So, the ref tries to check. As I said, he couldn't lift his arm a third time because Lashley was holding it back. So, the time runs out. It's down to about 3 seconds. And Lashley has his arm locked on the side of him. It's down to 3 seconds. His arm is not coming up. He's not letting the ref lift his arm. 3 seconds left. Time runs out. Bobby Lashley wins. However many falls he had. Either 3 falls he had or 2 falls. Lashley wins and is a new Impact Wrestling World Champion, I think for the second or third time. I know he held it once before. I lost count how many times Lashley is an Impact World Champion. I don't know. He's either a 2 or 3 time World Champion now. So Bobby Lashley, the new World Heavyweight Champion. Congratulations to him. I was cheering for Eddie Edwards. I wanted Eddie to win and retain, but it didn't happen. So Bobby Lashley, the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. It was a good Iron Man match. And it was a very good edition of Genesis. I enjoyed it. Subscribe to my YouTube, like my videos, share my videos, comment on my videos, and follow me on Twitter if you would like at WWE NXT Guy. Also follow me at NXT WWE Guy. Hope you enjoyed this Impact Wrestling Genesis 2017 review. Bye for now, everybody.